back to the Home Turf Podcast. It's me, Hunter Mitchell, joined here by my co-host, Cade Harris.
How's it going?
It's been a little bit since we talked about soccer. We had the 2-week schedule, but then we had fall breaks. So that kind of broke that up. So it's been a bit. We have
It's almost been 3 weeks, I think, since we've discussed A&M soccer.
Yeah, it's been a little while.
And I mean, that might be for the best. They've been a little bit. Well, I mean, they've been a lot better since we've talked about them last, and we might be their curse.
Yeah, maybe we're the problem, actually.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, it's perfect time for us to ruin it then, I guess, when they're here in the last stretch of their season.
Talk about the crunch time. We're about to talk about how they have to win these, at least the last couple of these games. Perfect time for us to jump in and just completely kill their momentum.
Definitely, yeah. And like you mentioned, last 3 games of the season, probably going to need to win 2 of them at least to make the NCAA tournament. They will make the SEC tournament. Heck, they might not. They might even be a top 2 seed in the SEC tournament.
Which, man, you look at what we discussed last time, and it's like, ooh,
yeah,
a lot different.
For sure, they're gonna need a lot of help with the teams that are playing against Arkansas. Because Arkansas has played less games, blah, 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 whatever. If Arkansas wins out, they're going to win the West. So, yeah, they will need some help by the lower division teams in LSU, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State. Those are Arkansas's last 3 SEC West games. LSU and Ole Miss are the two worst teams in the West. Mississippi State is actually still kind of fighting for that top spot in the West. So, it'll be interesting. But, yeah, we'll preview A&M's side of the end of the schedule here.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at your last 3 games, you got a lucky draw in getting South Carolina at home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dang, number 15 team in the country. You just knocked off another top 25 team in Alabama the other night, who was number 19 at the time. You know, these are the games that build your resume, that prove that you need to be in postseason. Because again, we talked about this team may not even be able to make it, and now we're looking like they're hanging above air. You know, they're hanging above water. They're gasping for it. They're not down yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna have to keep swimming.
Yeah, and I would say for this game, we talked earlier about how the games that they played at the start of the regular season could hurt them towards the end. Like they didn't take advantage of their opportunities against tournament teams. Like they didn't beat Florida State. They lost, and they could have gotten a point. They could have gotten a tie away from Washington State, but they lost. They lost to a TCU team. All 3 of those teams are teams that are likely going to make the NCAA tournament. And so this game's important because it's one of the last ones that you have the chance to, build your resume on.
Yeah, I mean, even those, if the NCAA soccer committee is anything like any of their other committees, they favor close losses against really good teams early in the season rather than blowout wins against really garbage teams. So even though lost to TCU, they're ranked now, not a bad loss. Again, you would like to at least tie in that one. And then lost to Florida State again. If you would have tied both those, that kind of harks back to what we were talking about, the ifs and the buts in last episode. But those are looking all right. Those aren't really hurting you that much. But now you're looking for things to help you more than things that don't hurt you. You need things to build your resume, not just keep you afloat.
Mm-hmm.
And that South Carolina game is senior night. It's a big one. I mean, a tie here would be gigantic, and a win would be a monumental.
A win would go a really long way for the SEC standings, one, and then just the bigger picture in the NCAA tournament. But I would be very happy with a tie.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where A&M's at too. I think a tie is monumental, especially going in the last 2 games at Tennessee, at LSU. Mentioned LSU is not a good team by any means, but at home they are. I mean, at home they are 6-2-1, and on the road they're 2-4. So, and LSU doesn't tie that much. I mean, one time. So they're very sink or swim. So, I mean, it's a tough draw on the road, considering just from the home record. But those are 2 very winnable games.
Most definitely. I mean, they've proven that they can compete and win games at that level. I mean, winning against Alabama kind of proved that. They hung around with those teams earlier in the year, and so there's no question that they can go in and beat both of these teams. It's going to be a tough task. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to go, like we talked about off the podcast, 2-0-1 or 2-1. I think there has to be a 2 in the W column. I think.
Yeah, I would say so. And if there's not, there has to be a 2 in the tie column.
Yeah.
Uh, they can't suffer 2 losses
Yeah.
and expect to make the tournament without a great performance in Hoover.
Yeah.
I think that's where the SEC tournament is. I'm checking that right now.
Pensacola, Florida.
Pensacola. I don't know why I said Hoover. I said Hoover.
In the brain.
Yeah,
Or
I
baseball,
do.
Sorry.
Yeah, baseball. That's where that's at.
Yeah.
I just figure Hoover's a good spot to put all of them, but Pensacola, that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd want to stay in Pensacola for a while.
Blue
So.
Wahoo territory.
Hopefully they'll have some fun and win some soccer games because they might need to.
Yeah, the only issue with that is, man, is A&M has and you look at their basketball team to know that it's really tough to have to ride on a tournament performance because what is the committee? Is the committee even watching the tournaments?
No.
Or do they only pay attention to if you win the tournament?
Right, exactly. So I mean, when I say that, I pretty much say you have to at least make the championship, if not win it.
And even then, man, that's still you're putting a lot of things to fate when you do that. And I think that if you take care of business, even man, if you go 3-0 these last 3 games,
Say that again.
If you go 3-0 these last 3 games, that is.
I think you're in the tournament for sure.
Yeah, you've got a top 15 win and then 2 road wins. I think road wins mean a whole lot too. To close the season, even 1 victory, 2 victory maybe in the tournament would really kind of make you feel a lot more comfier. But I think those last 3, I think you win, you're in. Because I mean, you win those last 3, that puts you at 10-5-3. You're not going to be national seed, but I mean you'll be in.
Exactly.
You'll be going somewhere.
Probably going to Austin.
Yeah, probably.
I mean that's where they always tend to send this soccer team.
But I think that puts you comfortably in. But again, it's that SEC shaping up. If they get that bye in that first week, if they do manage to win those games and get that bye in the first week, that's huge.
Huge. I mean, yeah. I think. I mean. For me, I like my teams competing for championships, and I want them to go out there and try and win the SEC championship, whether they need to for NCAA tournament qualification or not.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so, I mean, a bye will be fun.
I definitely don't think. I think when you look at age of teams, I think with older teams, you're more okay with them. Like if they make a conference tournament, not like going and this is gonna sound weird. I feel like older teams, you're a lot more like indifferent about them not making the conference championship game because they've been there, they've done that, they've won a lot of games, and they're you're just getting their mindset ready for the tournament. But I think for the young development of a lot of these players, A&M's a very young team. I mean that defensive line is young. I mean that's like primarily freshmen. So I think making a run this tournament, getting them used to that kind of style and playing games back-to-back days and things of that nature and getting them used to that environment, I think not only just for this season but for seasons going forward is really big in terms of development.
100%. Yeah. That just being in a tournament format for these younger players is important. It's kind of like why for football, younger players, like it's important to go to a bowl game because you get 15 extra practices, you get a whole extra game in around the same time where playoffs or national championship time would be. So it's kind of the same goes for soccer there.
Yeah, and I just think that come conference tournament time, man, anything can happen. I mean, it's just so you look at every single conference that does like a postseason tournament, and man, it just gets weird.
And G has been very successful in this tournament as well.
Yeah, it's just something that it's unpredictable. It feels like anytime anyone's in any kind of tournament, man, like something happens with the nature of just college sports and athletics that most of the time the better team probably ends up on top, but the road to get there is very twisted and very weird. So if for A&M to, like you said, even like make a championship game there would be huge, not only in terms of resume but just building and developing. Because I mean they've got recruits coming in that can do a whole lot, but they're gonna need a basis if this team wants to get back to frankly where they were years ago. Where they were making Elite Eights and making championship runs and being top 25 and coasting through the SEC kind of thing. This team has kind of fallen from that, but this team still has a standard. And I mean, the fact that even we've gone from what they were to where it was like, man, this team, you know, just went,
Perennial,
yeah,
like, I mean, they weren't ever on the bubble. Like, it was a shocker if they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament.
yeah, and to now kind of where they're at. But like even when we look at like earlier in this season, we were saying, man, they should just go win games and just have fun. Just be,
Yeah.
just if they
No
can,
kidding.
just go have fun, play soccer, get ready for next season. But now we're looking at maybe, we were questioning postseason. Now it's looking like there's maybe a light at the end
It's
of
a
this tunnel.
legitimate possibility. I mean, it's crazy to me that this team has the chance to be the number one seed in the SEC tournament.
Yeah, which I mean, just
3 games left too. It's not like this is
yeah, like
early
they
on in the
they 1-0.
season. Yeah. Oh, we control our own destiny. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, this is a legit possibility and would be, I mean, just shows the testament of the team. I mean, they've really stepped up, and I mean that win against Alabama was gigantic.
Well,
Really slay the elephant.
and it slayed some demons for that weekend
Yeah.
too.
Oh
That
man,
was the day after that football game.
that's some real. Oh, Crimson Tide rolling into. I think I remember early in the season noting that the Alabama soccer game is the same weekend as the Alabama football game.
Well, they seem to kind of do that. So like, I mean,
Think they shared buses.
soccer played Auburn same week that we played Auburn this week or this year. And no, that's not true.
I was about to say
It
no.
was
We just played.
It was volleyball, I think. Played Auburn the same week that our football team played Auburn. I just feel like they try to do that a lot. Because I remember also last year soccer played Arkansas the week that A&M played Arkansas. Or that might have been 2 years ago. Either way, I just feel like that they kind of try to do that.
Save gas, I guess.
Maybe.
But I mean, the defensively, I mean, you look at the weird. I mean, you don't lose 6-0 against Vanderbilt. I think we're feeling even better. I mean, that was a
Yeah.
super strange game.
Very weird.
And then immediately turning around and beating a ranked team in Alabama. You put a little blip on that one.
Yeah.
But even then, that's a game you probably really should have gone out and at least tied or even won. I think we're feeling a lot better about A&M's postseason chances that they got a point there somewhere. But that being said, like we mentioned, there's still light at the end of this tunnel. But they really are really gonna have people step up. Miley Hayes gonna keep playing well. Sammy Smith, Wilkinson's playing really well. Defensively, I mean, shoot, before the Vanderbilt game, they hadn't given up 2 points since Washington State.
Jeez. That's crazy. I mean,
You go down, they gave up 3 to Washington State, 1 to Baylor, none to Tulsa, 1 to TCU, none to Grambling, none to Rice, 1 to Kentucky, none to Texas Southern, none to Mississippi State, 1 to Arkansas, none to Ole Miss, and then 6 against Vandy. So, that's just kind of a weird one. I mean, even against Bama, 1 and then none against Auburn. So defensively, they've been short. Like, they've been pretty stout.
Kenna Caldwell made some huge saves this weekend against Auburn. She made some really clutch saves at the end.
Yeah, and so, I mean,
helped them get this point.
That's just what is – they're going to have to offensively – and again, that was why they lost that Arkansas game is get the ball in the net. Get it in there.
Yeah.
Kick it down, left, right, like just lock in. And if you my wise sage wisdom for the team is if you score points, you are going to win. If you outscore your opponent, you're gonna win.
I can't argue with that.
And with this with this defense, honestly, 1 goal, 2 goals for sure.
Huge.
One goal could win you the game.
Exactly.
Like they're not gonna have to get into 3-4 shootouts. 1 goal could seriously win you the game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they go out there and they do that and they execute that, because I mean, the young defensive front. Oh God, I just said execute, didn't I?
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher, man. He's leaking, permeating in all aspects
Let's
of my
hope
life.
let's hope this team actually executes.
Oh yeah. Well, we gotta go to Rocky Top, so we'll see. We'll see how that turns out.
Oh gosh.
But no, seriously, like I think offensively, if they can find ways to just do enough, their defense can give them wins.
Mm.
But tough road ahead against South Carolina. 2 on the road. They'll mean a whole lot going forward. SEC tournament, same thing.
Show out to Ellis Field students for
Sen-
senior night.
Yeah, senior night.
Last regular season game at least at Ellis Field this year.
Yeah.
So
So
go support.
there's light at the end of the tunnel, but they just gotta keep pushing. They just gotta keep driving. And playing like the team that played against Alabama, not the team that played against Vanderbilt or Florida State, and keep on keeping on.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of us, we're keeping on, stopping. That's it for this episode of the Home Turf Podcast. I'm Hunter Mitchell,
I'm Cade Harris.
and we will catch y'all next time.